What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Thursday edition of Crypto Connoisseurs. It is so great to have you guys all back, and let's get into it. Let me know in the comments if you could hear me clearly, if everything's good, if you guys are hyped up for tonight, because we are in the month of December, and December has historically been absolutely batshit crazy in crypto, and we're going to teach you how to navigate that market, what to look for, what are the newest trends, what the hell is DeFi 2.0, where to buy land, what kind of games to play, where to put your money, how to take profits, give you financial advice. Just kidding. We're not going to do that. That would get us in trouble. But we got some incredible guests tonight. We've got Martini guy and Milton and Marvin from Cryptowise. Plus, we'll have our guest Alex come in later, tell you guys about the Polkadot parachain that will house all the NFTs of the future. That is unique. And Quartz for Kusama version. I am very excited for that. As you guys all know, NFTs are mainstream already. New York's Times Square, it is going ape shit. No pun intended. Also, crypto is just exploding, absolutely exploding. Right? We got Jack Dorsey saying, "Bye-bye, Twitter. You can do your own thing right now. I'm just gonna go full time for Block." That's right. Square is now called Block because why not? It's blockchain. I'm surprised he didn't call it Bitcoin or something like that, just because he's so bullish on Bitcoin and so anti-alts. But Jack will come around. He'll come around. He'll realize that alts have a purpose. Michael Saylor, of course, swooping up dips. Just keep this guy, man. Every institution is watching him. If you think that we're going into a multi-year bear market, you are mistaken, my friends. I think that you watch too many charts and you got too much post-traumatic stress syndrome from 2018. I see Jordan backstage shaking his head, holding his head, quivering right now. We'll bring him in a little bit and get his opinion on that. Silk Road founder Ross Albright, please free Ross for the love of God. Drops an NFT. In jail making waves. God, please free Ross. My God, this guy created a website and now he's in jail for 2 consecutive life sentences. Bullshit. Anyway, let's talk about the crypto cases, guys. This giveaway that's going on. We're almost at $2 million. And we've got like 5 more projects that are coming on board that we've been talking to that haven't that haven't put up there yet. And games and hot universe stuff and all this fun things like that. Can you guys see the thing on my screen? Because I can't see it, but apparently it's there. So anyway, let's say hi to everybody. Use Paid Warrior. It's great to see some Paid Warriors in the house. Paid has been doing really great lately. Thank you guys. We have, if you're not part of the Paid Warrior community, go join that. You can win whitelist spots on the IDOs. We're going to start making it rain on the Paid Warrior community. So if you're not in there and you want to win a bunch of free shit, go make sure that you're part of the Paid Warrior community, because all you have to do is go talk about Paid, what you love about it, and you're going to get free stuff like NFTs, whitelist spots, airdrop tokens from projects we launched, all that cool stuff. Make sure that you're joining it. And we've got Kraken Natural Training. We got A5 Ano, Asaya 220 UG, BSK 23. All right, guys, make sure that you smash up the likes. Make sure that you share this with everybody. And we're going to be giving away a bunch of whitelist spots tonight for a project. You guys will, I don't know what it is actually, but we got Milton and Marvin backstage. I could tell you what it is. We got John, we got Johnny. Johnny's always showed up. Thank you guys for coming. Let's get into it. Let's bring out the guests. We got Martini guy. Jordan, what's up, brother?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. Thanks for being here, man.
It's a pleasure to be here, and of course, yeah. I think we've got to discuss a few things today. But I am interested. It's been a while since I've been on one of your shows, and yeah, you're back at it, doing it full time again now. I think.
Daily. It's insane, crazy. Milton, Marvin, what's up, guys?
What is going on?
It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. That's all right. Yeah, no, good to have you guys on. I was on your show a couple weeks ago. Now you're on mine. Good to reciprocate. Yeah. All right. Let's dive. Yeah, Jordan, I saw you in Dubai last time. We've talked, I think, one time since then, and that's good to have you back on the show. Yeah, we'll talk about a few things tonight. So that's for sure. I'm curious. Too. Yeah.
Well, not saying that. Are you back? Are you back here on your little island now? Or are you?
Yeah, no, we're on Phuket now. Yeah.
Okay. So you're out then. In that case, I won't see you, but I am going back.
Yeah, to Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there to February. So Anyway, nobody cares where the fuck we are. Let's get into it. So what do you guys think about like, okay, so what is, I haven't read, I just got the headlines in, like, first Zuck changes Facebook to Meta, then Dorsey changes Square to Block. Mm-hmm. And what was he like? Okay, actually, it was quite clever, right? Like a 2D to a 3D thing, but also blockchain. That was a clever change. But what is Block? Do you guys know?
Well, go for it, Martini guy.
I was going to say I don't know. I know that Square is an investment fund that seems to invest in a lot of different things, and I assume it's doing the exact same thing.
No, I think Square's a payment app.
Square is in. Oh, because I'm completely clueless. I clearly don't understand what I'm talking about.
It's an American thing. So
Square, Square is. Square is, I think, only one of 4 or 5 companies that they own, and so I think Block is bringing them all together. Personally, I think the Jack Dorsey thing, him changing it to Block, to me that is huge news because he's a real crypto guy. He's been in Bitcoin for a really long time. He seems to think that he can build all this stuff on Bitcoin, which is going to be really fascinating as we see all these Ethereum's alternatives building out their networks to see what he can do on Bitcoin itself. It feels like Bitcoin is going to, in some ways, be also competing to see if it can be the layer 1 that can do a lot of different things with Jack Dorsey behind it.
Oh, that's an interesting take. Bitcoin is a layer 1. Imagine altcoins listing on launching on Bitcoin.
Well, you have Mint layer coming up, which is smart contracts on Bitcoin, and I think it's a really interesting topic. RSK tried to do that years ago. It's been a miserable failure so far. The weird thing to me is like, you're building, and I'm not technical enough to understand everything, but you're building essentially a second layer on top of Bitcoin, which removes the security of that network anyway. So if you want to have the most security in the world, you would be on Bitcoin, but you can't have smart contracts in Bitcoin. So the whole thing really confuses me, actually.
I have a feeling this is going to bring Jack and open his eyes onto the altcoin side of things as he goes through this process.
Yeah, well, I imagine running Twitter probably took a fair amount of his time, so maybe he didn't have time to really understand, altcoins.
Well, but I think for him and for like, it's similar. It seems to like Jack Mallers, is that his name? Who's doing? He's got Stripe, and for them, it seems like really just transactions, global transactions, but they're taking it off of the kind of main network of Bitcoin so that it could be feeless, so that there's no fee in terms of transacting, and it can be as fast as some of these other networks. So I don't think they're going to get into gaming or NFTs or any of that kind of stuff. In my opinion, I don't think that's where Bitcoin's going. But in terms of competing for transaction speed and gas costs for transacting, it seems like they think that Bitcoin can be as good as any of these other layer 1s.
You know what? Like, who else is? We have an interview coming up. Probably we recorded today. We'll probably drop it next week sometime. But I think Martini guy, you're quite familiar with Casta, right?
Yes, very familiar with Casta. I'm actually an advisor to Casta.
Oh, me too.
Well, hello, fellow Casta advisor. No, Caster's going to be great. So Caster is essentially doing the same thing, but with Bitcoin. And Caster, in terms of the engagement that they're getting at the moment, it's insane. It's insane.
Not just that's why not just Bitcoin, but Casta's doing for alts too, which is I think the most interesting thing. Yeah,
it's like a bridge for anything. It's a really interesting concept. And I hope that they do well on the execution, because if they do well on the execution, it just becomes your remittance payment application for everything. And there is no need. It just completely negates Western Union. All Western Union at this point, how are they still existing anyway? I mean, within 5 years, Western Union as a business should have gone bankrupt. People should not be using that anymore because the technology has evolved enough. And I'd say most of the world at this point has access to the internet and to some kind of mobile device of which they can use to transact. And the part of the world that doesn't currently have access, they're having huge amounts of investment into those areas that are then going into giving them access because other people want to make money from that. Because there's a whole kind of service provider opportunity there that is not being taken advantage of. So when you've got these businesses that want to grow in these industries, all that they're doing is trying to just just grow from investing in these little areas and building like a little telephone pole and giving everyone cell signal. And as soon as you've done that, you've got new customers. So I don't understand how remittance payment businesses, as they currently stand, continue to exist. Yeah, that would be my point there.
Yeah, it was one of the most, like, it's funny because, like, when Carl first told me, and for those of you who are watching who don't know who Carl is, it's Costa. What we're talking about is Carl the Moon's project with another Carl, who both last names start with R, who both have brown hair, whose moms are both named Christina, and yeah, it's very, very funny. But anyway, like the idea is, it's just so obvious. It's like, well, we need a simple solution, and everyone's been thinking about this forever, but it just doesn't really exist. And so, but what I find interesting today, I just found out about this block renaming like an hour ago, 3 hours after I do this interview with Carl and Carl, and part of me says, oh shit, like they're now up against the big boys, the beasts, right? Because of course Jack's going to go for the same type of thing, right? The Venmo, PayPal type, easy, like cheap payments. But I think what's interesting, just like El Salvador had an opportunity to move quick because it was small, right? Less bureaucratic. I think the same thing can happen with Costa, for example, moving small because it's less bureaucratic and because they can get in new countries quickly and less people making decisions, for example. So I think it's interesting, the whole idea.
It will be very much like a Coinbase versus Binance in this type of situation, where Coinbase had already done its growing and it was going very much the legitimate route during like 2017, whereas Binance was like, everybody come to us, everybody can have an account. Like, because you don't remember, like in 2017, they actually banned signups for a while on pretty much all exchanges, and Binance were the only ones that kept the doors open. I think we're going to see a situation like that in these countries where maybe we have a rush towards using these crypto remittance payment applications, and then you have a major one that can't necessarily abide by all of the local laws and jurisdictional rules. And so they spend 6 months working out a government contract, whereas Casta just goes in, gets the most basic of legal things and just go for it, and then solve the problem later down the line once you've got all your customers, which is a much better way of doing it. You are better off begging for forgiveness than you are asking for permission in many cases.
Absolutely.
The other thing about the Jack Dorsey news and Block for me is, I don't know, like it wasn't that long ago that the crypto argument of, is crypto going to be a thing? You know, that was still kind of a real argument, even just almost a year ago, or not even a year ago. Then it's like, I don't know at what point for you guys you felt like, oh, this is the milestone that now that argument can be put to rest. To me, there's been a bunch of those, but this is another one where you're just like, okay, crypto's here. That's it. It's over. Like that argument can be put to bed now. So now when we see the up and down of the, the market, it's no longer like, is it going to zero? Now it just becomes a strategic investment point of view. When are you going to take profits? When are you buying dips, that sort of thing. But the argument that this industry is going to zero, to me, this is another one of those huge milestones where you're just like, forget it. Like that, don't even bring that argument up anymore.
Well, on that note, let's talk about that, right? So historically, December has been the most insane month for crypto in history. Year after, like almost every single year, we see some type of often, I would say we see pretty dramatic price movements. And it's funny too, because having a launch pad and having a lot of people kind of apply to launch on the launch pad, everybody's kind of shying away from that last 2 weeks of December. Like, oh, I'm either going to launch, everyone wants December 15th, and some people before, but everyone's like, if I can't do it by then, I'll just do it in January. But I think one of the smartest things you could do with your project is launch like on Christmas Day or something like that, because how long can you really sit there and listen to like your family without going and like checking on your crypto portfolio or something like this? It's too volatile these times. And I think it's going to be crazy. But the question I have for you guys, and I have my own theory, but I'd like to hear yours, is like, do you think that we're headed toward, some type of blow off top, and, is a bear market, in the immediate short term, maybe like 2 to 12 weeks or something?
I would be happy to go first on this one, being that I don't think that we're anywhere near the top. I think that any kind of pullback at these stages here is nothing but just a bit of a correction, kind of consolidation, just going out sideways. And I think that Bitcoin, when it does form a top, should be at least $320,000. And I don't understand, because I mean I've done this calculation over and over and over again, and I always come out with about $320,000.
That's exactly the number I say too when people ask me the top, but that's
it should be somewhere around there. Like when you're looking at, and maybe Milton or Marvin have a different opinion on what could happen, but my opinion would be that we've not formed a blow off top. Every single time every market has topped out, it's from a blow off top. It gets too excited and then it just drops. It never really, it's not what you only have a tapering off in a market if there is a slow loss of interest. You look at any stock that has a slow loss of interest, it doesn't have to form a top, but Bitcoin isn't having a loss of interest. It can only be from overvaluation where you have a bear market. But I don't feel like we're overvalued, being that there are a lot, like 98% of the world still doesn't use this stuff. It was 99% a while ago, but I think we're actually notching on for quite a lot of people that are in crypto at this point, which is giving it that security. But also, it's one of them word of mouth things, isn't it? How many people are going into the office and going, "Oh, I've bought this and it's gone up 10%," and then someone else goes, "Well, how did you buy it?" And they teach them, and then they go and buy it, and it's like this cumulative effect of everybody suddenly putting their money into this instead of into the bank. And that, go on.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think this is, like I said, I think this industry is now just becoming legit. We're in the early stages, so we're still going to see volatility, which is great because that gives really an opportunity to make a lot of money. But I think last year was the perfect example of what happens at a top, right? Like we didn't want to believe it. I know I didn't want to believe it what was it, May or April or May? Things were amazing. We saw Binance coin go from nothing to $300-400. And I thought, okay, this is the beginning. This is the beginning. We're going to keep going. And then, but in retrospect, you look at it and you're like, yeah, that was a bit of a bubble in terms of not the whole industry collapsing, but in terms of it just got overheated and it needed to cool down. And I think we'll know when that happens. I agree that we are not there yet. Bitcoin is just reaching that all-time high that we saw last year. So is that overheated? It doesn't really make sense for me in that sense. But I agree that I think we will eventually get to a top but it will be clearly like in 2017, that was clear. You could see it in the charts. It was just went insane. If we see something like that again, then of course there's going to be a big cool off. I don't see a crypto winter though for 2 years again. That to me is over because we have working products. There's gaming, NFT, all this. So if it overheats, will there be a correction? Of course. But are we going to have 2 years of crypto winter again? Don't think so.
I got to agree with Milt and both of you guys on this. Normally, Milton and I are bashing heads on a lot of these topics, but no, I totally agree with this. And I think part of the challenge is that if you were in crypto in 2017 and 18 and you did go through that huge top and then that bear, we look at charts and we go, this doesn't make sense. This can't be the top, right? But at the same time, we reflect back on how long of a bear cycle we had. But this is a different market. Crypto is now actually going mainstream, as Milton mentioned, and you guys mentioned, there is real products that are integrated in the real world now. There's so much institutional money. So I don't expect, I agree with all three of you guys. I don't expect that even when we do have a blow off top, I don't expect to have the same type of bear cycle that we had last time.
Yeah, it's funny when people just look at a chart and be like, guys, this is exactly replicating 2017. It's like, dude, no, it's not. You know that the price of crypto and adoption doesn't depend on charts. It's actually nothing like 2017 at all. Nothing because of the players that are involved. It's actually nothing at all. And I just made a video about this entire market cycle thing that should be released tomorrow or something like that. I don't know. Mike's sitting next to me just slacking.
In your own business with Paid Network and the Launchpad, Kyle, you'll see it all the time. The actual professionalness of the funds investing into this stuff right now is getting more and more and more serious. It started out with just a few like guys that were just, I'll invest in that, why not? And now it's changing into this, like, rules are coming, and that's the maturation of the market that we never actually saw in 2017. And with rules comes legitimacy, and with legitimacy comes more money and more investment. And we're at that stage now where the word crypto is not scaring people away. And it used to scare people away, and it doesn't scare people away anymore. So for me, I find that very exciting, especially when you're looking at all of the things that are coming out right now, and you're looking at the quality of them, and you compare it to some of the absolute trash that I invested in back in 2017, like some
insane
dog turdish cryptocurrencies, and I considered them to be good back then. So it's like the stuff that's coming out now is actually good, whereas the stuff that we thought was good back then was just kind of just nicely wrapped turds.
Well, we have a different a lot of different players entering into the crypto space, right? So obviously game studios, right? That's been probably the largest and most notable thing. It's like, hey, we've been making these games before for the past 15 years. We've sold millions and millions and millions of copies or downloads. Now it makes sense for us to make a blockchain game. And that's impressive because you got guys that have made sticky games before. They know the positive feedback loop of games, and they've had success. And now they're like, we just don't know how to get into crypto. So that's interesting, and we can support them with that. But then you have other people too, and this is the one thing that if you're watching this, you have to be careful, right? You have to be careful and make sure you pay attention to token utility, because now what I'm seeing a lot of, which is a problem, I'm seeing a lot of companies come into the space that have existing user base, they've got customers, they've had some success so far, and now they want to introduce a token into the ecosystem, but they don't know what the token is supposed to do. They just think that any business with a fiat revenue model can for some reason have a token. And unless you understand how to ask the right questions, and you should always pay attention to what the token utility is and ask yourself, can this product survive without a token? And if the answer is yes, most likely it will survive, and the token will be left in the dirt, not accruing any value, because the founders will understand how to create token economy and token economics. So I'm seeing a lot of this right now, and it quite scares me because I see some investors on these lists of investors. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, yeah, but they had 500,000 users. Well, they're going to continue to have 500,000 users. They're probably going to continue to grow to millions of users, but that will not correlate to an appreciation in the token price. It's unless they push value into the token, and we're willing to completely change from like a for-profit, equity-based shareholder type of fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders type of model, to switching to a foundation, accruing all value into that token and putting that in as a priority. And so I would be very careful if you're watching this. Yeah.
That's a great point. And that is something that in 2017 was a bit of that. I thought a lot about that with the ICOs, because it felt like back then, most of these projects were also trying to be businesses. But now it feels like when we're moving into this kind of DAO phase, a lot of the good projects I'm looking at least, they're not trying to create a business that's going to have shares that are also going to have value and the token and try to create utility for the token. It's just the token. It's going to be moving to a DAO mode. There's not going to be shareholders. That is being a shareholder is through the token. So I think we kind of transitioned into this mode now from 2017. And I think that's really good. I only know a few instances where it seems like they're doing both well. Like I think Celsius is a good example of a company that is accruing value as a company for shareholders, and their token also seems to have a lot of utility and value to it. But that's an amazing point, Kyle, because I think more people need to understand that. You have to understand the tokenomics and what the utility and value of that is. And for me, part of that is are they also trying to build a business for shareholders? And if they are, be careful, because that token might not have any value.
And because from a legal perspective, those shareholders the founders have a fiduciary responsibility to take care of their shareholders before their token holders, because that law hasn't been created yet.
Exactly.
Now, let me challenge you for a second on the Celsius idea. So imagine this, right? Imagine a world where all of the profits, or let's say all of the revenue generated by Celsius flew back into the token economy. So let's say that they made $1 million in December. So that was from their revenue side, the cash side of the business, right? And they also had more people coming on board, onboarding new people. They're staking cells so they can get lower APY on their interest rates, whatever. Well, to be honest with you, like, that token model seems a little gimmicky to me. I mean, sure, it works, but it's definitely not necessary for that business to operate. It's just a gimmicky type of token. It doesn't, like, give me lower interest rates for other reasons potentially, maybe it's okay. But imagine this: instead, let's say they made $1 million revenue in December, right? So what they decided to do with that $1 million is, let's say they put $500,000 back to staking rewards, right? So that way, staking rewards didn't come from another bot that's inflating, another area that's inflating the supply. So buying it back up, taking that fiat $1 million, buying $1 million worth of tokens on the open market, or maybe just 750,000, maybe 250K, or maybe 500K, whatever goes to the company for overhead costs, things like that. But if the rest of it went to, like, let's say there was 500K to treasury, 250K to burning, buying tokens off the open market, secondary market, and burning, and then another 250K for airdropping to users, and adding more value to the community. So if 100% of the revenue went back to the token, now $1 million a month is nothing. They make exponentially more than that. They make probably 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $150 million, I don't know, a month, a lot of money. So imagine if all that value was going back into the token economy, where the price of Celsius would be today. It would probably be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times the value that it is today. So though you can create value in these two separate models, equity and token, I feel like you're kind of doing both half-ass, So it can work. It works for Binance, it works for Celsius, it works for Nexo. But imagine if you created that full circular economy, that would be incredible.
I mean, they are kind of doing that, but you're right. It's a hybrid, right? I'm not here to shill Celsius at all, but I've been using it since they launched, and I do really like it as a product. I'm not affiliated or in any way, but the thing is, they give you the choice, right? And for the longest time, I didn't earn in Cell. I earned in the tokens that I just had in my savings accounts. But I like that they give you the choice. Eventually, I switched actually to earning in Cell, which I didn't have to, but because I looked at what they have a fixed supply, and they do buy back they have to buy back to give me Cell. So the more people who want to earn and sell, the more they're creating buy pressure for Cell every week, and they have a burning mechanism. I agree with you. It's a hybrid. Would have been interesting to see if they went one way instead of both ways. I do think when they came up with the idea for the Cell token, it was a bit like, well, everyone has a token. It's not needed. You're right. You don't need it, but I feel like they've at least been able to, it seems, do both pretty well. But I agree with you that it's not necessary. They don't need the Cell token to do the service.
It is, and it is true. It is true. I do love Celsius. In fact, I am actually moving all of my assets from Nexo into Celsius because I actually just love them way more. I think they got better customer service. I do have a pretty substantial amount of crypto, and I don't feel like I'm getting that type of special treatment from Nexo anymore, where Celsius really wants to take care of me. And I appreciate that a lot, because when you have so much value in an ecosystem, you want to make sure that they're responsive in case things I also leverage that, right? I also take, guys, another way, I'm actually making a course on this too. And working with Celsius in a partnership. But another thing, I just brought it to me. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see this and learn how to leverage, not like derivatives trading, like on a long or short position, but if you got extra crypto sitting around and you're in a bull market, you wish that you had more money to put in the crypto market. Did you know that you could collateralize your assets and take out a loan against them using Celsius or Nexo and use that to reinvest into the market? So I'm making a course on how to do this in a safe way. Martini guy, you're scratching. You look a little uncomfortable with this. What's going on?
No, I think it's always it's a good idea, and it's a smart thing to do. And it's one of them things that I think there's another smart way of doing it, which is you can, as long as you've paid tax on your crypto in the first place. You say you have legitimately earned crypto that you say you've bought like £1 million of Bitcoin, and you don't want to sell your Bitcoin. You can collateralize it. You can take out a loan to the value of like 50% of that, and then you can buy a house or something with it, and you don't have to pay tax on that because it's a loan. And so I should have done this when I bought my house. I ended up paying about £40,000 of tax buying my house, plus stamp duty, so it was like nearly £600,000 or something of tax. When I could have just taken out a loan, and I was just lazy. I could have done it. I was just being lazy. So that sucks. didn't realize it was going to be that much money. And so, yeah, I should have thought about that beforehand. So if you are going to buy a house with crypto, don't sell your crypto. Take a loan against it and then spend the loan. It's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, Roger Ver did that,
I actually
think,
just took
explicitly.
I actually just took a Celsius loan recently because I didn't want to. I want to be in the market right now, and I could have sold some of my alts. I could have done this and that, and in the end, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a loan. I needed some cash, 1%, interest on it, and for me, that seemed like a smarter move than selling any of my alts right now, which I think could pop at any moment.
Yeah. I want to switch gears a little bit and get into metaverse, NFTs, gaming, things like that. But I want to bring on quickly Alex from Unique Network, and they just recently won the Parachain auction for Kusama on Quartz. Alex, welcome to the show, man, and it's good to have you here.
Hey, Kyle. Hey, everybody. Nice to be here. Great to see you, Kyle.
You too. You too. Congratulations on the Parachain with Quartz. That's really exciting.
It is. It is very exciting. It's such a new thing that you don't know how it's going to work out, when it's going to work out. Worked out perfectly fine.
Yeah. So can you tell people who aren't familiar yet with Unique Network or Quartz, what you're doing?
We made this next generation NFT chain. So it is NFT infrastructure as you know it, for kind of minting NFTs and kind of making marketplaces. Yeah, but our real thing is taking advantage of the technology that Substrate, which is underlining Polkadot and Kusama, to create the next generation of infrastructure for next generation of NFT use cases. I like to kind of simplify it by saying what we have today is for NFTs is pretty much like Web 1 was, and what we're building is Web 2 in terms of what you can do with them.
And can you give us some examples of like what can you do with Unique, for example, that you couldn't do with like ERC 721 or 1155 or whatever?
Sure. To begin with, ERC 721s and most of the other chains, they produce NFTs from smart contracts. Smart contracts are energy buzzing kind of. They take a lot of space. They take a lot of bandwidth. They take a lot of everything, and as such, they're not as efficient for large use cases in terms of gaming, for example, is the obvious choice if it's not a simple card game as we have today. If you want anything that's kind of powerful, the infrastructure isn't there. So we are minting NFTs natively, which means you can mint a hell of a lot of them, and they're free from smart contracts, so they can move around a lot and easily. They can move around to other chains. They can move around between applications, and all of that does not require anybody else doing applications to work with a smart contract, but with a free token. That is for anybody building applications. They are kind of, it's a technical thing, but they understand the difference in efficiency. Just for the fun of it, we are also minting natively refungibles. So the shared ownership of an NFT, you can actually take and divide it into as many fungible tokens as you like, and it's done natively, so that again there is no DAO, there is no smart contract. It's just done, and you can move around those pieces as well, collateralize them, or do whatever you want. So these are kind of basic things that make the big difference from the infrastructure perspective. But from the app developers perspective, we bring in native support for transaction fee sponsoring. So that what that does is basically introduces freemium gaming to a blockchain, where you can take and move away the blockchain from for any user for any action they take until they're ready to pay. That's how the gaming industry works now. In the blockchain space, it's not like that. In blockchain space, they have to pay transaction fees anytime they do anything. Projects have been successful in mitigating this for collectibles use cases like NBA Top Shots, but that's all they can do. What we can do is we can take that model and support any kind of application with it, with very powerful sponsoring that covers everything. And the list goes on.
That's amazing. Alex, I heard a little bird tell me that you got some whitelist spots available for the Quartz public sale. Can you tell us, before you tell us if that's true or not, what exactly is Quartz? Is it live? And when will we see some building on it, some things launching, maybe the first NFT mint on Quartz?
To answer your question, the answer is no, because we are offering whitelist for Unique, which is going to be our Polkadot chain. That one is launching as soon as we win this lot, and that should happen, I hope, this spring. And now Quartz, the questions you asked, is our Kusama parachain. It's live, went live this weekend. And we are preparing to do a big upgrade to it to get all our pallets inside it. That's going to happen next week. And then basically you have everything we have had for a year and a half now in our testnet. You'll have it in production. There are already dozens of teams developing on top, and we're going to start seeing those deployed very soon after we launch. There are a number of very exciting projects we're waiting to see what happens, from very simple ones to kind of very, very powerful things. The ecosystem building, the app development is something that excites me most. Blockchain is great, but our job does not finish when we launch the blockchain. It actually starts then.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the most interesting part. There's so much cool stuff happening in the NFT space, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, the kinds of projects we're talking about, the kinds of things people are thinking about and are doing, is just things just go on and on and on. I just keep being amazed.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Appreciate you coming on, man. For those of you who are watching, I am an investor in Unique Network, and I've had lots of conversations with Alex about economics, NFTs, utility, all this kind of stuff. So I am biased, of course, but I am very bullish, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. And Paid is very Polkadot heavy, and I'm sure that we will do some collaborations here. Got some really cool, exciting announcements for everybody. Yeah, Milton, go for it.
I just want to jump in because we're huge Polkadot fans at Cryptowise. That's our network. And I think Unique and Quartz, man, I think these guys are sleeping giants. I love. I cannot wait for Quartz to launch. And I know Alex has to be, he has to be diplomatic because it's his project. It's not my project. I just can't wait for NFTs to explode on Polkadot, and Unique is going to be in the center of that with a few other people. I also just want to say, guys, if you're looking for a cool kind of retro vintage NFT for your collection, Unique, they launched their Substrapunks about a year ago, and they also have these cello bricks, which is the avatar that Alexander has there. And those are available on their Unique marketplace. I've got one of each. To me, the Substrapunks, that's the first NFT launched on Polkadot. And these things, no one is really paying attention to them. So in terms of like an under the radar NFT play, for me, Substrapunks is right up there. Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. I think Polkadot, and this is why we're building on Polkadot. This is like, it's because it's still to this day, the only protocol level that actually thought about interoperability from day one, and where the future will be in the next 10 years with blockchain. It's inevitable to me. But yeah, thanks for chiming in, Milton, and Alex, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, so you heard that from Alex. Epic. You heard Milton talk about how bullish it is. You guys, if you watch me, you know how insane I think Polkadot is going to be. 20 whitelist spots. All you got to do, go to Twitter right now. Go to Twitter. Retweet this tweet. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. Make sure that you're following me on Twitter. And we just, all you have to do is retweet this. And we're going to pick 20 of you guys at random to be on the Unique Network public sale whitelist. That means you don't have to battle for other people for allocation. You get to go put your feet up, have a coffee, relax, take your time, participate in this public sale, and watch it go to the moon, baby. Watch it go to the moon. So go do that right now. and we will pick 20 of you guys at random. Let's get back to it, guys. What are you super into right now? What has caught your attention? You guys tell me. Okay, what the hell is DeFi 2.0? Tell me that.
I can tell you. I can kind of explain that DeFi 2.0 is exciting, but one thing that just springs to mind, just because I've just got off the phone with them, is Cross the Ages looks amazing.
It's epic.
Yeah, it looks so
Epic.
good. I am very excited for that one, just because it looks like it. I wanted to mention it too, but we didn't have time before this stream. It looks great. If you don't know what it is, just Google Cross the Ages, and if you get involved on that early, I think it's going to go so well. Just because it's one of them ones that's from a professional development hub. And that's what's really exciting about it.
Yeah. If you guys aren't familiar with Cross the Ages, it's a guy that has, I think he owns like 4 or 5 different game development studios across the world. Tons of experience. There's like, I don't know, 150 artists and novelists. They're creating novels that go along with this, and it's like it's going to be a AAA studio game, and it's amazing. I'm pretty sure I was talking to them before they even had opened or started taking money or anything like that. Many months ago. Very, very impressed, guys. We're gonna do everything we possibly can to get you to paid ignition. Don't worry. It's epic.
It will be fantastic as and when it comes out. Anyway, when it comes to DeFi, I feel like we should have a bit of a DeFi boom soon. I feel like it's been lacking for a while. I mean, the last time that DeFi really pumped was September 2020, September through to kind of October, and that was all we had. And then that was just the precursor to what has happened over the course of the past 12 months with Bitcoin and everything losing its mind and just going up and down like it's on crack. And the entire market's on crack, and it's been on crack for 12 months, and it seems heavily addicted to crack. But essentially, DeFi right now is, I feel like the entire space has been completely undervalued, and there's a lot of people that are very focused right now on 10x, 20x gains, and they're slightly missing the bigger picture here, which is you can invest in the hype, or you can buy something that everybody has forgotten about, and within that there is a large amount of value. People ask me, well, what was your best ever trade? My best ever trades are buying things that people stopped caring about. And so what I'm doing at the moment is researching heavily in DeFi and basically trying to come up with the best DeFi projects to invest into, because I feel like there's just been a bit of a lack of it recently. And in terms of staking, we all understand staking at this point. Most people do stake some aspect of their crypto in order to earn interest on top of it. They don't necessarily realize that staking is coming from an inflation of the supply. So you're not actually technically gaining, assuming that the two were correlated exactly. Right. And when the supply is increasing, assuming that demand is not changing, which in DeFi generally doesn't change that at the moment. When your supply is increasing, your coin's price is going down. And so when your coin's price goes up, in theory, you would have more coins. But the question is that influx of demand going to come back in? So what I'm doing is finding decent interest staking coins related to DeFi projects, investing into those coins now, in the hope that we have some kind of DeFi season where the narrative changes, because the narrative has been on metaverse projects, and it's going to continue because of Facebook. But I do feel like at some point within the metaverse, people will want banks, and those banks will be decentralized banks.
I think that you know what I think, and I just thought about this now. I think that DeFi will get popular again when the markets slow down, because right now there's just no APY you could possibly get that touches crypto gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just can't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So why would I go put anything that does me 40, 50, and this is so retarded that we even talk like this, right? Like, oh, you get 40% a year, that's disgusting, like pathetic. I was in the Mall of Dubai last month, and it was like, get 2.5% on your money. I was like, wow, like.
The only thing I would kind of disagree with you guys in one sense. So, and it's so hard to keep up with all this stuff, but like, because it seems like yesterday where DeFi summer just happened, and you know, things like Wi-Fi and Curve and all those guys were launching, and now they're the they're the MySpaces of the space. But the thing about DeFi 2.0, which who the hell knows really what it is, these terms kind of pop up, and it's so hard to keep up with what they mean. But for the most part, it basically just means these applications that are building on top of those first DeFi kind of blue chip ones. And so we've seen and it seems like a lot of the DeFi energy and money is going to these platforms, the Olympus DAOs. One just launched that I went in on this week just because I'm a huge Polkadot guy. Rome DAO just launched on Moonriver, which is an Olympus DAO fork. And Olympus DAO has like all these forks and all these, Avalanche is going to have one. All these different layer ones are going to have one. Some of them are total crap. So, be very careful, do your own research. Rome DAO was one that looked promising for me, but partly I'm biased just because it's on Polkadot and I just want to be involved with everything on Polkadot. But those are getting like Rome DAO just launched and you're getting like 300,000% or something right now because it's so new.
Yeah,
but I think
that's sustainable.
Yeah,
down to 185,000.
But this is the thing, Kyle. That's not sustainable. But Olympus DAO launched in the summer, and everyone was saying that's not sustainable. They're down to like 8,000% or something. But the thing is, they're basically stable coins that are tied to a treasury. They're these DAOs that are tied to a treasury of assets. But the stable coin is always trading at a premium, or has been at least since they launched. Now, if it trades at a deficit, then they start buying back and burning some of the coin. I don't know. I'm into it. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about it because I do think this is the next phase of DeFi. But I agree with Martini guy in that part of it, like we're all ignoring the DeFi 1.0s right now. It's like they're not sexy at all. And they're the infrastructure for all of this. So at some point, I do think those are going to pump. Another project, and this is more of a Marv thing. Marv got me onto this one, but it's the gamification of DeFi. I don't know if you guys have heard of DeFi Kingdoms, which is on the Harmony layer on blockchain. That one has been exploding. And that's more of like, it's basically just DeFi, but they've added kind of a like retro game onto it, and that one has been blowing up.
Man, Martini guy, I want to say, one thing that I have to give out, like, I don't really like any other launch pad as much as I like Paid Ignition, of course, but there is one that I do admire quite a bit, and I gotta give a big shout out to Avalanche. Just because simply, when you look at what they're doing from an economic model, it's pretty incredible. And so when you said, Jordan, earlier that the APY, incentives and staking and rewards, comes from inflation, it's not always true. You can build in taxation into a protocol that is a reasonable taxation that then gets fed back to the rewards. The rewards aren't going to be hundreds of percents, right? But they're going to be something so if you have something that is a sustainable APY, you could actually build in a taxation of the protocol on things like selling, or when you initially stake, or if you unstake early, for example. All of these fees can go back and pay back, APY rewards. So I really love Avalanche. I think that's what Mark has done over there as CEO is pretty incredible how he's doing it. It's actually, that investment I got in the private sale, it's outperformed Star Atlas, and it whether the market is bloody red or green, it just doesn't care. It just pushes and pushes and it's mind blowing. It's because of what he's been managing to do. And like, I'm over there taking notes because they're just very clever, and I really appreciate that. So I wanted to give a big shout out to Mark and Avalanche, and I think it's just going to keep going.
Another one that I know that Martini guy is in on, I think, because I follow his content, obviously, is Elrond. They just launched their Myar DEX, and they had crazy APY. I added a bunch of liquidity in there, and and that's one that I think long term Elrond has a lot of great potential. And because they just launched their DEX now, you can get crazy APY that you won't be able to get later on. But for me, it's crazy APY attached to a blue chip project.
Yeah, I think Elon's phenomenal. Like I was an advisor early back in 2018, working with them from quite the beginning on all the economics and go to market and things like that. And so I still have all of my tokens from Elrond from back in the day one. So
sounds
amazing.
Some big bugs there then. I mean, for me, even since buying at $6, I bought heavily at $6, and then I'm still holding all of those, and I've been continually accumulating pretty much ever since. And I think on the channel, it's been one of them ones where I missed Avalanche completely, and I could kick myself in the face so hard for missing it because I saw it so early on, and I was like, it's just another layer one. I don't need to do that. I should have done it because it just never stopped going up in price. You are correct. It's just basically a straight line to the moon, is that thing. It's a very impressive chart. For me,
Are you talking about Avalanche or Avalanche?
Avalanche.
Launch.
The one that's good. The player one.
No. sorry. To be clear, okay, everybody, okay, they sound almost identical. So to be clear, Avalanche is a layer 1 protocol. Avalanche is a launch pad.
Oh shit, you're talking about a different one.
Yeah, he's talking about the launch, but it's
Let me have a look at this. I'm not familiar.
Kyle's he's purposely trying to confuse you, Martini, guys. But
found it. All right,
they're both fantastic.
You're talking. They're like literally the same thing, just with different. Oh yeah, no, that thing's. Oh wow,
clever.
Wow, that's crazy. That thing's gone like from 57 cents to $20 nearly today. That's crazy. That's nice. That's nice.
I'm pissed at not having not getting on Avalanche at the right time too, and I'm even more mad because Milton and over here, he convinced me to pay back a debt I owed him way back in the day with Elron when it was at $6, and he's like, "Oh, you got a bunch of Elron. It's already up to $6-7." And so I paid him with that, and I was pissed.
Sorry. That's a classic story. You know, the Bitcoin pizza story. That for us is our Bitcoin pizza story because I will never sell that Elron now. So every year that debt that Marv had to pay me back is getting more and more and more. So I can't wait for 10 years from now when it's like $1 billion Marv paid. And I think it was just like a bar tab or something.
That's crazy.
I have a quick funny story. I was in Dubai with Chris from VLaunch and his partner Mo, who are starting VLaunch, and like I was at their house doing some work, and Mo, co-founder, needed like 1,000 dirham for his food order, right? So the food thing comes up in the motorbike, and he's like, "Shit, I don't have any money. Like, can I borrow some money?" I was like, "Dude, I only have 1,000, which is like $300 or whatever." And he's like, "So I'm like, here, you can borrow this." And he's like, "I'll get you back." I was like, "You know what? Just add it to my allocation and VLaunch." He's like, "Okay, fine." And so I was like, amazing. Like, so he goes and gets his food, gives the guy had no change. So he gave him the whole $300 for probably $30 worth of food or 50. And then I come back and Chris comes walking back and he goes, "Dude, I just got $300 more bucks in VLaunch private allocation. From Mo over here." Chris just goes, "What?" He just like couldn't believe it because it was hilarious. It was very funny.
It's painful.
Well, $300 will be 30 grand. Oh
yeah, or exactly. For lunch, it's nice.
That's nice.
So what else? Okay, so what other okay, so give me each of you. I'm gonna go around and let me hear give me 3 projects that are currently trading on the market that you're really excited about, that maybe you think are undervalued, people should pay attention to, and tell me 3 that, or you guys can 2 or 3, whatever, that haven't launched yet that you're really bullish on, excited about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll go first. Mm-hmm. My first one would be Exceed Me, because I think that the market has completely misunderstood where the value proposition is coming from with Exceed Me. It's probably a coin that I don't think anyone in this call is invested in. Not that I know what Cryptowise is invested in, but I think that most people don't generally invest in this because it's a smaller market cap. It's like 50 mil or something at the moment, and it's not really made huge waves. However, the platform that they're building, I think, is going to be one of them things. It's a play to earn type platform, but it's the partnerships that they've got with these huge gaming companies, and I think that people have just completely misunderstood that the amount of users that are just automatically going to get brought onto this platform with these partnerships, and they will be very big. Another one on that front would be, I don't know. I can tell you, I'm going to go for 1 and 1, and I'm going to say my other coin that I think that is not launched yet would be Cross the Edge. I think that looks amazing. Or Big Economy launched the other day. What an insane that was! $10 billion market cap it launched at. That was insane. So good.
Did you get in on that?
Yeah.
I tried, man. I tried. And the worst thing about it is Dane, my partner at Master Ventures, is friends with the founder of Economy, and I'm like, dude. Seriously, even before it launched, I was like, get up right now, go talk to him, go get him on the phone, go figure it out. Yeah,
So
like
economy is fantastic. And again, and I pointed out in yesterday's video, look, there's this brand new $10 billion project, and look at one of the logos on the home page. One of the logos on the home page is odds. Obviously, Bioconomy is going to be some kind of platform for all of these smaller applications to interact across. And odds being on the front page, I just pointed it out in yesterday's video, and for some reason, everybody took that as a right, let's go and buy odds now. And the price of odds is up like 30 or 40% today. Point being, odds, again, I think is another project that is very attractive. The decentralized the futures market is going to be something that I think is going to get more and more popular with time. And odds is basically a decentralized version of Bybit. We already have Injective Protocol that already exists. But Injective Protocol is one, and there are many derivatives exchanges. There is more than enough space in this industry as it continues to grow for more than one decentralized derivative exchange or futures platform. And so that's another one that I'm pretty bullish on. So those would be my kind of suggestions. But I'm interested in what Cryptowise have, because
yeah. Before you guys get into your topics, I want to know, what is this this NFT whitelisting thing that we're doing?
The NFT whitelisting is for a project that we found in stealth mode called We Are the Walrus, WATW. I'm focusing a lot of my time and attention on gaming and NFTs, gone deep into Ethereum and Solana. We Are the Walrus is on Solana. They're launching on Saturday. And so they've got a few whitelist spots open. It's actually, we found this when it was in stealth mode with like a couple hundred people in their group. They're over 16,000. People are going absolutely nuts to get whitelist spots in this. We think it's going to be one of the largest projects on Solana, definitely of the year. It's got the Bored Ape style that we feel the community, the brand, everything these guys are doing is amazing. So I think we have, Milt, 20 whitelist spots that we were able to get for this? Something like that. Yeah, 20 whitelist spots.
Okay, all right. So what should people have to do to win these things, this whitelist spots? What should they do?
I mean, this is your show, Kyle. So you tell them when they need to do. You just collect their names, and we'll make sure we get it to the We Are the Walrus team. I mean, I don't know. What do you normally do for people to win things?
Okay, so we're just gonna have. Okay, so basically, make sure that first of all, you have to be subscribed to me, Martini Guy, at Cryptowise. Mandatory.
That's
and following us on Twitter, but also let us know in the comments. I don't know, guys. Like,
I suggest putting it on the tweet. Everybody that replies to the tweet that you tweeted out for this video that you can drop in the chat for this stream is probably the easiest way of collating names. So if everybody basically on that tweet replies to it saying I followed XYZ, then that's an easy way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Just to keep in mind, in order to actually be whitelisted for this project, those people that win will have to go onto Discord and join the We Are the Walrus Discord. That's how they're going to get their whitelist role. And I just got to say, in terms of utility, because we've been talking about a lot about utility in crypto projects, and we're seeing all sorts of new utility come to the NFT space. With We Are the Walrus, these guys are coming up with some interesting things. So 30% of all royalties actually go to sweeping the floor. And then all of those NFTs that are swept will be burnt until the collection comes down to 5,000, after which point the DAO is formed. And so these guys have created a number of mechanisms. They're also building the legendary game where you can put a walrus up to try to win one of 4 legendaries, and that will be burned if you lose, and all kinds of fun stuff. And so they're getting really, really creative. But I think that's the best way, Martini Guy, to do it. We do the tweet. Whoever wins, though, will have to go onto their Discord. That's just how it is.
Okay, and do they have to put their? I would imagine that they have to also put their ERC20. Oh no, Solana addresses.
Solana, yeah, so Phantom wallet or Solana wallet that they can use to mint for the whitelist itself. Yes.
Okay, so this is what you do. Just make sure that you're following and subscribing both on Twitter and YouTube to Martini Guy, Cryptowise, Kyle Chasse. Go on this tweet for the show on my Twitter and let everyone know that you did it and you're so freaking proud of it and how awesome we are. And then, and how valuable we are. If you want, no, you should definitely do that to win whitelist spots. And then after that, well, also leave your Solana address there, and then go to the Discord and wait for the good things to happen, because you should win, because you're awesome. And okay, guys, we have to wrap up quite soon. So Milton and Marvin, please give me one project each that's trading that you think is super undervalued. and one that's not out yet.
Talking about for me, DeFi gaming, I'm big into gaming. There's a bunch. I could talk all day. I think right now I'm going heavy in DeFi Kingdoms, which is Jewel. I think the stuff that they're doing with DeFi gaming is amazing. The yields that I'm earning in there, the NFTs that I can apply, it's just been going nuts. I'm getting about 1,000% APY on my stake right now in there, and I've got a bunch of NFTs. It's a lot of fun. On the ones that are, and another one for me, Polkadot, I got to say, on the Polkadot ecosystem, I'm the most bullish by far right now on Kilt. I think that Kilt protocol has a huge amount of upside. It's only right now thinly traded at $270 million market cap. For those that don't know, it's a blockchain identity protocol on Kilt. I think it's going to be it's one of my largest for sure bags that I'm building.
Nice.
Yeah, for me, I would double down on Kilt. I think Kilt's going to be a beast, and not a lot of people know that the token is out yet. I would say we were talking about DeFi 2.0. I think part of that is concentrated liquidity automation management. We saw Uniswap version 3 go to concentrated liquidity. We're going to see SushiSwap move there. There are a handful of projects that will automate your liquidity for you. The one that I love, just because the market cap is basically nothing, it's like a market cap under 10 million, is Elixir Finance. I've been talking about it forever, and I think eventually they will blow up. And talking about utility for the APY, the way they're doing theirs is they buy it back. They have to buy back because they have a fixed supply. So they have to buy back licks from the open market to pay the yield for their farming. So I think that's a good way to do it. But there are other ones. There's Visor, there's Popsicle. I think automation of concentrated liquidity is going to be big. I would say one other Polkadot project that I think is blue chip, just launched their token this week, is Integrity. Their token is Tier. It's only trading on Gate.io, but I think long-term, I love the use case for this project. I think they have huge, huge potential. So the Tier token on Polkadot, I would look out for too.
Amazing. That's some big alpha for you guys that are watching. And Kyle, what do you think is the best? Well, you're gonna have to make sure that bell notification is turned on, because I don't have time to tell you tonight. I already told you kind of what I think, but in the next couple of days, I will be releasing a video on my most favorite and bullish projects that are trading on the market. Then I'll make another video for the ones that aren't trading on the market yet, the most bullish opportunities in December. And I'm just going to be dropping so much alpha on you guys over the next week, months, and years to come, because I'm making daily content, because I need to catch up to Martini, guys. I have been working my ass off with my team to make sure that I could try to clear out some of my schedule, because usually I'm on calls from 9 a.m. until 1 a.m. and I have no time to make content, but I made it happen. And it's happening now, and I got to give myself a pat on the back for that, because it is difficult when you're running so much.
That's not even your hand. That was very clever of you.
How does Martini guy look so awake? Yeah, with all the content that you come up with, amazing content, you still look so awake and fresh.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I work all the time. I mean, I do the same as Kyle. We do 16-hour days or whatever it is, and basically your sleep is your rest period, and the rest of it is all work. But I think just we have a huge passion for what we do, and it's fun. It's just really fun. There's nothing that's not fun. It's not fun when it's going down, and that's when I start developing eye bags and having a bit of a miserable time of it. But yeah, no, on the whole, everything is really good.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you. And everyone watching, you guys are awesome. Thank you for participating. Make sure before you leave, you smash the likes. It helps me a lot. You guys have a wonderful night, wonderful evening, wonderful morning. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.